three. Horton back to the end zone.
28-yard play. Guess who? Body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in. Rose, it does. Rose stays up. The Suns offense 4-3 wheels. Incredible effort for Rose.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
How can we get more people interested? Here we are, deep diving into the G5 college football landscapes. We've been growing like crazy with followers on X, YouTube subscribers. Speaking of which, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give a follow and like and retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. Guess what, guys? We are so excited. Week 0 is right around the corner. Let's talk about conference champions, contenders, dark horses, Justice, American Athletic Conference, the AAC. Who do you have as your champion?
So no surprise here. I have the Memphis Tigers as my champion. I think they're the best team in all of Group of 5, so no shock that I would have them as the champion of the AAC here in 2024.
I agree with you. I would go with Memphis over USF. I think that Memphis takes on the Bulls in the championship and beats them. I think that the USF is a great contender, and I'm really looking forward to that game September 28th, USF at Tulane. Early in the season, that could be the game that decides who plays Memphis in the championship. Justice, who are some other contenders that you think might go up against Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, like you pointed out, that game that's my 2 contenders: the Tulane Green Wave and the South Florida Bulls. Tulane, it's going to come down to quarterback play. I think that's going to dictate how their 2024 season goes. And for South Florida, it's going to be the defense, man. The defense wasn't so great a year ago. There's absolutely no concerns with that offense and Byron Brown and Alex Galesh. But that defense has got to get better.
Whoa. You forgot to mention friend of the show, Sean Atkins. Sean Atkins
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So
man.
we had him on. We had him on earlier, so if you missed that, make sure you go check out that interview we did with 1,000-yard receiver, first in school history, Sean Atkins.
Yeah, that's like a shocker, right? Like, who would have thought South Florida never had a 1,000-yard receiver, and then they get one, and it's a guy that was a walk-on, man. A great story, right? He goes from a walk-on to being like one of the top receivers or the top receiver in school history. That's just a pretty amazing story. If you want to hear more, like Luke said, check out our interview there with Sean Atkins. But yeah, South Florida, it's the defense. It's all about the defense. That defense has got to have to improve for them to take a big jump up this season for 2024.
Dark horses.
Yeah, so dark horses. This should be no surprise if you listen to us talk about this top 25 poll here. But Rice was kind of the a dark horse for us. It's we both, Luke and I, are like super duper high on Rice, and we expect a lot out of them here in 2024. Like we said before, they are one of the tops in returning production. They bring in E.J. Warner, one of the top quarterbacks in the AAC. Solid running back play, Dean Connors. They got, again, a top tight end in Bowden Grown. They got some youngsters there at receiver and Landon Ransom and Rawson McNeil. The defense returns, I think, just about everybody, right? I think it was offensive line and quarterback were the 2 starters that they're missing. And so I think Rice is going to shock a lot of people. And like, to me right now, I know Luke had Memphis over USF. I think I'd pick Memphis over Rice. So I'd have Rice in my championship game. That's how much I believe in the Rice Owls here in 2024.
All right. Conference USA, the CUSA. Who do you have as your champion?
Um, no shocker here, right? The Liberty Flames. They're the class of this conference. They have a relatively weak schedule. They do play App State at App State. They play them in Boone, and so I think everybody but any Liberty alumni will be App State fans that day. But yeah, the Liberty Flames, easy choice here for Conference USA champions, back to back.
Yeah, I also went with Liberty, and like I talked about earlier, I've got Liberty over Sam Houston. DraftKings has them over under 4.5 wins. Sam Houston makes the championship game. They play the last week of the season. That will be a great game. Can't wait for that one. I say, conference MVP, Kane Salter. Don't think that's pretty crazy. Conference Offensive Player of the Year goes to my boy, Hunter Watson. He's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year for that conference. Give me all of Sam Houston. Anybody, Sam Houston, you're listening, send your boy some Sam Houston gear. I'm some Bearcats. Give me some Bearcats. I guess, who are your contenders? I said Sam Houston. Who do you have?
So my number one contender, I think I have to go to Western Kentucky. They brought in another offensive coordinator there. Maybe they can get things turned around and get that offense back to its high flying ways. They bring in TJ Finley over from Texas State at quarterback. They also have Caden Belt-Camp there as well. And I don't know. I just feel like I think maybe this is a bounce back year for Western Kentucky, and so that's kind of who I have in the championship game there, Liberty and Western Kentucky. And dark horses like you mentioned, I have Sam Houston as one of my dark horses. I'm not quite where Luke is on Sam Houston, but I do like him. I think I feel like third is a good place to kind of spot them in there in Conference USA, and then along with Sam Houston, some other dark horses I had. Luke talked about him earlier, Middle Tennessee and Jacksonville State. I think Jacksonville State's just a solid team. We'll see if that defense can be as good as it was a year ago, and we'll see if they can get some good quarterback play with Logan Smothers. Who are your dark horses, Luke?
It's not really a dark horse, but same as you, Western Kentucky. I think their over/under is like 7.5, so they're not really a dark horse. So if I have to, really dig deep on a dark horse, I think I'm higher than most on Middle Tennessee, like you said, and I really want to like UTEP. I think they're going to ride Javon Jackson. He's going to actually end up being the conference running back of the year, Javon Jackson. So mark it down. He is a transfer from Austin Peay. Got that staff coming over. I'm probably a year too early on UTEP. I want to like him so much.
I mean, I think they're going to be much improved. Absolutely. I think the key for them is going to be quarterback play, right? So that's going to be the key. They brought a ton of transfers over with them from Austin Peay. They have a ton of talent. If they can get quarterback play, that's not a bad pick, Luke. Really, yeah, but it's going to come down to that quarterback play. If they can get either, I think is it Cade McConnell or Skylar Locklear, I think are the two main ones in the competition. If one of those guys can kind of separate and at least be average for them, I think UTEP can surprise some folks.
All right, Mid-American Conference, MAC. We know the MACtion gives us some fun every Tuesday. Who's your champion?
I went with Miami, Ohio. I just feel like from what they return, Brett Gabbert again, and this pick is solely based on Brett Gabbert playing all year long. If Brett Gabbert goes down again, I don't know that they are going to be able to make it to the championship game, much less win the championship game. But Brett Gabbert, ton of experience. They bring back, probably the two best linebackers, or the top two, maybe the top duo in the MAC, and Matt Selipek and Ty Wise. And so that defense,
You got a pretty good defense. You got a pretty good defensive end.
The defense is going to be, I think, really good. Brian Ugwu there at defensive end. And so Brett Gabbert, a great defense. I think Gabbert's gonna finally win a championship, and he's probably, if he does that, he's got a great shot at being the conference player of the year.
I have him, Brett Gabbert, as the conference MVP. He takes Miami. I don't even need to say of Ohio, Justice. The disrespect that you give Miami, everybody knows when you talk Miami, it's Miami of Ohio. You don't even need to say it. Miami over NIU in my championship game. I think NIU and Toledo are other contenders. I have to put Toledo there because they just recruit so well every year. They have a really good defense. Tucker Gleason going to run that squad there at quarterback. I like the things that they're doing. NIU, I went NIU in that championship game just because I really like the running backs, wide receivers. I like it's that quarterback room that we just got to figure out. And as long as I like Tucker Gleason more. So it's like, but like every other piece, like if you can manage and figure out how you want to put together that quarterback spot, I like NIU overall.
So I had Toledo as my number one contender to Miami of Ohio. So Miami, Ohio over Toledo in the championship game. Like you said, Toledo year in and year out is one of the better teams in the MAC. I don't think this year is any different. They recruit at a high level. They play at a high level. And so for me, it's kind of like, to me, there's a clear tier. I think for me, it's Miami and Toledo and then the next group. And the next group will be our dark horses. And for me, I include Northern Illinois as a dark horse. Like you said, they have a great running game and they have an amazing defense. The problem with them is going to be quarterback play. I fear it's going to be like a game manager, right? And like he's just going to be asked to not lose the game, not necessarily win the game. And so that puts a lot of stress on the running game, a lot of stress on the defense. And I don't think that formula is going to win them a lot of games, but I don't think it's going to get them to a MAC championship game if they can't get better quarterback play than a game manager. And then probably my bigger dark horse would be Ohio. Ohio lost a lot. Parker Navarro's the starter there at quarterback. Ricky Hunnick at running back. I like some of their defensive pieces, and I just think that folks aren't expecting much out of Ohio this year, and I think they're going to surprise folks. And I think I don't know that they're going to make it to the championship game, but I think they're going to get to 7, maybe 8 wins this year, and I think that'd be a bit of a shock to some folks here in 2024.
If I had to pick a dark horse, I have to look at their schedule again. You put NIU as a dark horse, so obviously I have them in a championship game, so I say they're my dark horse. You have Toledo as a tier above, so I won't have them as my dark horse. I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan, and Eastern Michigan being another dark horse. Again, I'm going to have to look up that schedule, but that defense, I really like the defense there. Playing on that gray field, Max Crosby Field, just like a parking lot. I think that defense is going to be what holds Eastern Michigan in a lot of games. But yeah, it's a dark horse. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me a second as I look up Eastern Michigan's football schedule here. UMass, maybe win there. They go to Washington, probably lose that. They got Jacksonville State at home, so I don't hate that. You've got St. Francis, PA. Go to Kent State. I feel pretty good about that. It sucks. You have a home game against Miami of Ohio. So that'll be a tough game. Central Michigan, then Akron, at home against Toledo. Go to Ohio. Then you've got Buffalo, and then Western Michigan to end the season. Like I can see. I'm talking myself into Eastern Michigan in a dark horse there. Mountain West. Let's end it with the Mountain West as our conference champions. Justice, who you got?
Well, it won't be them. We still got the Sun Belt to go. But
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Can't forget about the Sun Belt, man. Sun Belt's probably the best conference, at least in my opinion, the best conference on G5. But that's an argument for another day. My champions in the Sun Belt, Boise State, right? Luke and I had them number 2 in our top 25 poll. They're not only are they a contender, but then the favorite to win the Mountain West, they're a contender for that automatic berth there for the group of 5. So yeah, to me, Boise State kind of a clear favorite here in the Mountain West.
Oh, the sky is falling. Malachi Nelson's not the quarterback. The sky is falling. Of course, Boise State is going to be the champion. I have them. Maddox came in there and he did great. Like that, like talk about a roller coaster of a 2023 season. And he came in there, did some great things for that team. But let's not forget, there's this guy that runs the ball there, and he runs it pretty good, and he catches the ball pretty good. And they've got a stable of wide receivers if they decide to pass it to anybody other than the Fighting Ashton Genties. And it's going to be Boise State, and they are going to play Colorado State in the Mountain West Championship. They're going to win. My contenders to go up there against Boise State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. Those are the 2 teams that I got my eye on. It wasn't too long ago that there was a coach coaching at Nevada, Jay Norvell. We had Carson Strong thrown for dang near 400 yards per game, and that kind of air raid type offense, fun offense to watch. I think he's got a lot of pieces. Torrey Horton come back. That was kind of a surprise. You've got Dylan Goffney. You've got Nick Fowler Nicolosi. Yep. I think he's going to take a big step. Word on the street is he was getting $600,000 to go into the portal from Kansas State. I think it was. Like other people are high on him as well. Give me Colorado State and Fresno State as my contenders. What about you?
For me, it's Fresno State. I think again, it's a kind of a clear tier. Boise State in a tier of its own. Fresno State as the kind of clear number 2 in my mind. Mikey Keene, that offense, going to be humming. I think the defense will be just as solid as it was a year ago. I guess if there was anything I had concerns about with Fresno State, it would be the coaching situation, right? Jeff Tedford, their head coach there, stepped down, I think in either June or July due to health concerns, and so the I believe it was the defensive coordinator, I think, is the one got named as the interim head coach. They kind of keep that staff together there, and we don't really expect any kind of changes in terms of schemes or anything, and so I mean that's maybe a little slight concern with Tedford not being there this year, but again, it's very minor in my eyes, and I think Fresno State will meet Boise State in that championship game.
So the only reason that I really put Colorado State over Fresno State, like I said, I both have them as contenders. We'll get to the dark horses. Obviously, it's Colorado State for me, but it's that Fresno State ran so pure last year. That offensive line had no injuries, and I just don't think that they can do it again. And you don't have a whole bunch of guys with a lot of experience back there. Excuse me. Back there. And that kind of frightens me. So it's what are the odds that they go another year with no offensive line injuries, knock on wood, and Colorado State had a lot of adversity, whatnot. I think they only won 3 games last year, and here I have them in the conference championship game. I just think that they take that step, and maybe Fresno State has a little bit more hiccups than they had last year. I mean, obviously you had Malik Sherrod got hurt with an ankle injury, if I'm remembering correctly. Mikey King got beat up a little bit, but then for whatever reason, that offensive line avoided injury, and it's just one of those things you don't really see in college football. So,
and they have a big game, I think maybe week 2 against Michigan. So hopefully they can stay healthy. After
I think it's week 1.
It might be week. I know it's early. I know it's definitely early. Fresno State goes into the big house and plays Michigan. So
who's your dark horse? I mentioned Colorado State as my dark horse. Who's
yours?
The
same, Colorado State. I think Jay Norvell here, and I think this is year 3 for him at Colorado State. And so again, the only concern will be for me is the defense on the pass rush. They lose Muhammad Kamara, their outstanding edge from a year ago. He is now off to the NFL. And so if I had a concern, that would be it. But I think they have some young guys there, newer Gatkuth, Boom Jock, some guys that can kind of help replace some of that lost production there from Mo Kamara. And yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't necessarily think they're gonna make the championship game, but I think they are a dark horse there in the Mountain West.
Justice, pretend like these are transition lenses. These are LED, helping me with glares and stuff. Imagine that these are transition lens. You got the sun beating down on me. They're dark. When I talk to you, Justice, I take my glasses off. I talk to you like a man, Jay Norvell. We stand on business over here, and I got Colorado State in that dark horse and in that conference championship. So, Sun Belt Conference champion, Justice, who do you have?
App State, man. I'm a big believer in App State this year. I think they are clearly the best team in the Sun Belt, in my opinion. And I think we had them ranked number 3, just behind Memphis and Boise State. We had them ranked above Liberty, and I think us ranking them above Liberty is going to be proven to be right when App State, puts it on Liberty there in Boone in November. I think our prediction of them over Liberty now in this poll is going to definitely be proven right on that day in Boone in November. And so yeah, App State for me, clear favorite here in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, I like Joey Aguilar, Caden Robinson. Love that team.
Anderson Castle. I mean, if you want some App State stuff, man, right? We did an interview with Caden Robinson, their top receiver, moved to the slot this year. A big season incoming for him. And then Anderson Castle, who David Ware from App State Mania, he was there. He was the breakout offensive player of the year for App State by David. And so, two outstanding young men. We interviewed both. Go check those out if you haven't already seen them on our YouTube feed and also on podcast form.
So yeah, I have App State over Texas State in the championship. Texas State brings in Jordan McLeod. Sun Belt Player of the Year comes over from James Madison. I like what they are doing there. They're not doing flashy cars and they're recruiting. They're just floating down a river. Give me App State over Texas State, Joey Aguilar, conference MVP, and then, conference offensive player of the year is going to be Jordan McLeod because, can't give it to the guy who didn't win it. So that's what I'm going to go with there. Who do you have as your contender?
I agree with you, Texas State. I think Texas State wins the West. Again, mentioned it earlier, the kind of concern with Texas State is that defense. Can that defense play well enough to kind of get them over the hump? I'm of the inclination that they can, but I think folks have to understand, and I think the same goes for South Florida. Teams that run these high-powered spread offenses, these fast offenses, they always put their defense in a bad position, right? Because they score a lot of points and they score quickly, and so the team is on the field a lot. The defense is on the field a lot, I should say, and so I don't ever expect South Florida and Texas State to have top 10 defenses in the G5. That's just never going to happen. But if they can get average defensive play from these defenses, you will see a big improvement in the records. And I think Texas State has done enough, brought in enough players in the transfer portal to kind of shore that defense up. And so I do think they will take a step up here in 2024.
And I think it's going to be behind that defensive line. And like you really like Ben Bell, I think
Ben Bell.
Is.
Yeah, Ben Bell.
For Texas State. So I think, the team goes as he was tied for – he had 10 sacks last year, which was tied for 9th in the country in sacks. Maybe not a lot of people know that. Dark horses, Justice, who do you got?
I got the Troy Trojans and the South Alabama Jaguars. Troy, folks had them ranked in the top 25. We did not. But I think, maybe we're just different with our expectations because there's so much change. Everyone else is looking at last year. But I think given all the changes that they had, I think they can still make some noise here in the Sun Belt West. I think behind Texas State it's wide open. And South Alabama is another team that I think that's going to take a step up in the West as well, with whoever starts at quarterback, whether it be Gio Lopez, Bishop Davenport. I think Major Applewhite's going to have that team in contention. I don't think they're going to necessarily win the Sun Belt West, but I think Major Applewhite's going to have them in contention here in 2024. Who you got, Luke?
Well, I love that South Alabama call, but I'm going to go with somebody who's going to have the running back player of the year on their team, and that's James Madison Dukes. Ayo Adebayo is going to get running back of the year. I think James Madison is one of those dark horses, and why I like them, they lose a lot. Their team pretty much goes to Indiana. But this coaching staff that comes in, cut their teeth at the D3 level, D2 level, where you don't always get to pick who your players are. You're kind of at the mercy to what they have there, and you adapt. And I think that's what James Madison is going to do. They're going to adapt to what they have. What they have is a good offensive line coming back. What they have is George Pettaway, transfer from UNC. You've got Ayo Adebayo. I think he was a 1,000-yard rusher at North Texas, or really close to it. Like he ran really well there. They like him. I think he represented him at media days. At least he talks to the media a lot. I think that they run the ball. And I think James Madison is that dark horse. That's going. Go ahead.
Before we get to our week 0 preview, just wanted to, Billy's kind of shocked I didn't pick ODU. I tend when I pick things like this, I tend to shy away from my favorites just because I don't want my own heart's desire to kind of get in the way. And so, ODU has a brutal out of conference schedule. They play East Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, Bowling Green. And folks have Bowling Green. Luke and I didn't have Bowling Green, but other folks have Bowling Green in this top 25 G5 only poll. And so that is a brutal out of conference schedule, right? You're playing two Power 5 schools. East Carolina's improved, Bowling Green's improved, and then you got that Sun Belt East schedule. And while I do believe that Old Dominion as a whole, from a team, that they will be improved over what they were last year, I am not sure that the record will reflect the actual improvement, because the schedule is just so brutal. They made a bowl game a year ago. I don't, not to bring up my own PTSD, but they blew a 28-point lead in the famous Toastery Bowl, and I got to witness that in person. But man, like I for one will be ecstatic if they make a bowl game again this year. I think the fan base, wants to see 7 wins. We haven't had a winning season at Old Dominion in a long time. But the realist in me just says, man, the schedule is so tough. The team, I think, will be better. I just don't know that the schedule is going to reflect that. And so I just can't, in good conscience, kind of pick ODU to win the Sun Belt East. Absolutely. Am I wishing and hoping, and do I want it to happen? 100%, Billy. But I don't know. I just don't feel like it's going to happen this year. But I do think the team will be improved here in 2024.
We appreciate the support that we got over here in the offseason. 2024 is coming on. Come back and join us next week as we discuss what happened in week 0. And we look forward to a full slate of G5 games for week 1 in 2024 season. And as always, bring you up to date on all the latest news and the happenings in the world of the G5 college football. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please subscribe. Leave those 5-star ratings and review. Thank you all for your support. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.